Hi students, welcome back to DuckFlix. Today we are going to be covering lessons 9.5 and 9.6, numerical patterns and rules. Please take a minute to review the lesson scale. By the end of this lesson, we want you to be at a level 3, which means that you will be able to generate 2 numerical patterns using 2 given rules and be able to identify relationships between corresponding terms. Please take a minute to review this lesson scale and record your beginning of lesson understanding in your notebook. Let's take a look at the standards for mathematical practice. By the end of this lesson, we want you to be able to make sense of problems and persevere. Remember, keep going, even if you're not sure if you have the right answer. You just got to keep persevering. 2, we want you to reason abstractly and quantitatively. You need to think to yourself, what makes sense? 4, we need to model with mathematics. You need to be able to show your thinking. We're going to attend to precision. We're going to check our work. We're going to look for and make use of structure. Okay, this is a big one for this lesson. We're going to see patterns and connections. And lastly, we're going to look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. Once again, we are looking for connections and patterns among sets of numbers. Let's take a look at the I do. We have Nia, Mackenzie, and Kirsten are at the beach for the weekend. They brought 3 sand pails that can hold a total of 6 pounds of sand. If they continue to fill up each of the 3 sand pails to build their sand castle throughout each hour of the day, how many total pounds of sand will they use to build their sand castle? And, okay, that's our joining word, and how many total pails will they fill up at the end of their beach day? Okay, so it's asking for a few things. We have a lot of information here. So we have 3 sand pails, 1 sand pail for each of Nia, Mackenzie, and Kirsten. Those sand pails hold a total of 6 pounds, and those girls are going to continue to fill up these 3 sand pails throughout each hour of the day to collect a total amount of sand to build their sandcastle. And we want to know how much is that total of sand and how many total pails are they going to use. So we're looking for both. So I've actually provided the information for you. You can see that we have each hour of the day, we have 7 total hours. And then we have our sand pails, and we know we are starting with the 3. And we have our pounds of sand, and the problem says that we start with 6 pounds of sand because that's the total amount of sand that those 3 sand pails can hold. So, in order to find our rule, our sequence rule, we need to look at just at the sand pails first. And we're going to look from 3 to 6, from 6 to 9, 9 to 12, and so on. And if we're skip counting, I want you to think to yourself, 3, 6, 9, what are we counting by? Okay, we're counting by 3. So the rule here is going to be add 3 each time for the sand pails. Add 3. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to look at the pounds of sand. Okay, we're only looking at the sequence rule right now. So we have add 3, put it there, that's a little bit better. And now we're going to look at the pounds of sand. So we have from 6 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 24, and we need to think to ourselves, if we go from 6 to 12 and 12 to 18, how much are we jumping or increasing each time? And the answer would be add 6. We're adding 6 each time because we have 3 sand pails and not sand pails, if we have 6 pounds of sand and we add another 6 pounds of sand, 6 plus 6 is 12, and so on. So our sequence for the pounds of sand is going to be add 6. Now we want to find the relationship between sand pails and pounds of sand. So we need to think to ourselves, okay, now we're going to look at this a little bit differently. And we are going to see that at the end of their day, because this is what this was asking and I gave it to you, after 7 hours, we're going to have 21 sand pails, and we're going to have 42 pounds of sand. So now we need to look at the relationship between these 2 numbers. Okay, so the bigger numbers are a little bit difficult to work with, but if we think of what number times 21, or what number divided by 42 is going to work evenly with these two numbers, the answer is going to be 2. Because if we do 21 times 2, that equals 42. And if we do 42 divided by 2, that is going to give us 21. So the relationship between sand pails and pounds of sand is multiply by 2. Okay, and you can even see that all the way here back at the beginning. We go from 3 to 6. If we multiply the 3 sand pails times 2 pounds of sand in each one, we're going to get 6 pounds of sand. Okay, now let's do this one together. Now I've purposely left some of the information blank so that we can fill it in as we go. Okay, so this time we have Hannah. She's planning to make cupcakes for a bake sale. Each batch of cupcakes, so we have each batch, needs 2 eggs, and there are 12 cupcakes in each one of those batches. Okay, so you can see right here, one batch is going to give you 12 cupcakes, and it's going to require 2 eggs to bake it. If she continues to bake batches of cupcakes with the same number of eggs and cupcakes in each batch, we want to know, how does the number of eggs compare to the number of cupcakes baked as she keeps baking? Okay, so let's use our skip counting. Let's take a look at this. So let's look at the eggs first to find a sequence rule. We go from 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Okay, that one's easy peasy. We can see that it is add 2. So if we keep going, let's complete the rest of the chart. So if we add 2 to 6, we have 8, 10, 12, and 14. So the rule in each sequence, we can say the rule for the eggs is add 2. Okay, now let's do the same for the cupcakes. We have 12 to 24, 24 to 36. Okay, bigger numbers, but I think we're all intelligent students and we can figure out that we need to add 12 each time because they told us that one batch is 12 and each batch has the same number of cupcakes. So for the cupcakes, the rule is going to be add 12. Okay, that's a sequence rule. Now we need to know what rule describes how eggs and cupcakes are related. Okay, well the first thing we need to do is we need to finish the pattern of cupcakes. So if we have 36 plus 12 more cupcakes, that gives us 48. And if we want to have 12 more, that was add 12. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to add 12, which is going to give us 60. And we're going to add 12 again, which is going to give us 72. And we're going to add 12 again, which is going to give us 84. Okay, now we need to find the rule that describes how these are related. So if we have 14 eggs and we have 84 cupcakes, we're looking at the relationship here. Okay, we're looking at how do these two compare. And what we're going to find is the rule here is going to be multiply by 6. Okay, and let's do the math to make sure that that works. 4 times 6 is 24. Regroup our 2. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 more is 8. Okay, 84. That checks out. There's 84. If you're not as comfortable with working with the bigger numbers, you can always go back and look at your first numbers in the sets. And you can also see here 2 times what is going to get you to your 12 cupcakes. And you can see that you would multiply by 6. All right, now let's go ahead and have you try this out. Go ahead and read the question, pause the video. I've started the chart for you. Please go ahead and solve this on your own, and we will come back and check. And we're back. Okay, so we have Blake. He's preparing his garden. He separates it into sections. So the first thing that you would have wanted to do is number these off into 5 sections. Okay, then it tells you that he starts with 15 square feet for the area, and he has 3 friends who are helping him. So the number of friends would be 3. We always want to start with our given information. And we have 15 square feet for the area. Now the question is asking, what is the area of the garden if 15 of these friends are digging at the same time? Okay, we need to get to 15 friends. So, this time what I would do is I would find the relationship rule, okay, then fill in the sequence. So we can see that we have, for one section, we have 3 friends. Okay, so the relationship between the 1 and the 3 is that we're going to have to multiply by 3 each time. And then in order to find the relationship between number of friends and square feet, you can see that we're going to have to multiply by 5. Okay, this is going to be multiply by 5. So let's go ahead and fill in the chart, and then we're going to, and then we can go ahead and find the rest of the relationships in sequence. So we're starting with 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so now what we need to do is, if we do the same for the next column, we're going to have 2 sections times the 3 is going to give us 6 friends. And that will give us, sorry, it went away, 6. And then 6 times 5 is 30 for the square feet. Okay? Now you can keep going with this relationship, or what you can now recognize is the relationship across, okay, the relationship here and the relationship here. Okay, so you could have either kept going with the relationship between sections and number of friends, or the relationship between number of friends and square feet. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the chart by using the sequence rules. So what you can see is if we go from 3 to 6, we have added 3. And if we go from 15 to 30, we have added 15. So 6, we have 3, 6, we'd have 9, 12, 15, and then down here we would have 45, 60, 75. Okay, so if it's asking for 15 friends at the same time, we can see here's our 15 friends, and we want to know what is the area. The area would be 75 square feet. Please take a minute to reflect on your learning. Please record your end of lesson scale, and we will see you in class tomorrow. Have a great night.